Hello, everyone. We're going to start off with paragraph 11, and we're on chapter 4 right now. We must imagine that a being with fully developed human intelligence originates out of nothing and confronts the world. What it would be aware of before it sets its thinking in motion would be the pure content of observation. The world would then appear to this being as nothing but a mere disconnected aggregate of objects of sensation, colors, sounds, sensations of pressure, of warmth, of taste and smell. Also, feelings of pleasure and pain. This aggregate is the content of pure unthinking observation. Over against it stands thinking, ready to begin its activity as soon as a point of attack presents itself. Experience shows at once that this does happen. Thinking is able to draw threads from one element of observation to another. It links definite concepts with these elements and thereby establishes a relationship between them. We have already seen how a noise, which we hear, becomes connected with another observation by our identifying the former as the effect of the latter. And the summary we have for 11 is: the pure content of observation would appear as a disconnected collection of sensory objects, such as color, sound, taste, warmth, pressure, smell, pain, and pleasure. Thinking relates one element of one observation to another through concepts. So in the previous paragraph, he wanted us to look at what is an object of observation, and here he wants us to get to that point. We have to eliminate all thinking and concepts and whatnot to get the pure idea of what a object of observation is. And so he wants us to visualize, say we're an alien and we come down and this is how we experience life, and then it's not until we think about things that we start making sense of oh, this is a pressure, this is the warmth, and this is the concept that I have, and then it just starts connecting these things. So if you want, you can try imagining what it would be like and to just experience the world as pure observation without any thinking whatsoever, and it would just be this world with just objects and feelings and whatever, but you wouldn't have the ideas about these things, you would just experience them. So this paragraph is a good paragraph to use as an imagination, and just think about what it means, the term object of observation, just to truly grasp the concept of observation. And this is one mental exercise you can keep visualizing to grasp this concept of an observation, an object of observation. And I'm going to move on to paragraph 12. If now we recollect that the activity of thinking is on no account to be considered as merely subjective, then we shall also not be tempted to believe that the relationships thus established by thinking have merely subjective validity. So the paragraph summary for that is: the relationships established through thinking are not merely subjective, because, as previously mentioned, the activity of thinking should not be considered subjective. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory, is that the relationships, the concepts that we formulate about objects, they're not subjective. They're beyond that, because thinking is beyond subject and object. Whether the thoughts that we formulate about things is correct, that's a different story. That's not something that we're taking into account, but the relationships that we establish are not subjective relationships. So that's something as well we need to make clear in our thinking. We're going to move on to paragraph 13. Our next task is to discover by means of thoughtful reflection what relation the immediately given content of observation mentioned above has to the conscious subject. So we have for the summary of 13 as we will discover through thoughtful reflection the relations the content of observation has to the conscious subject. Paragraph 14. The ambiguity of current speech makes it necessary for me to come to an agreement with my readers concerning the use of a word which I shall have to employ in what follows. I shall apply the word percept to the immediate objects of sensation enumerated above, insofar as the conscious subject apprehends them through observation. It is then not the process of observation, but the object of observation which I call the percept. And the summary is the term percept refers to the object of observation rather than the process. And so he has in his book definitions in the beginning and such as intuition and inspiration and all that stuff. So percept, I believe, is in his introductory book where it talks about various terms and how he uses them. Again, the word percept just means object of observation, so that can mean your feelings about something. You make your feelings as an object of observation. A plant can be an object of observation. Thinking, he wants us to make thinking as an object of observation. So that's what he means when he says percept. Whatever we can observe it doesn't matter what it is, it's something that is observable. That is a percept. And it's important to understand what that term means. We're going to move on to 15. I do not choose the term sensation, since this has a definite meaning in physiology, which is narrower than that of my concept of percept. I can speak of a feeling in myself, emotion, as percept, but not as sensation in the physiological sense of the term. Even my feeling becomes known to me by becoming a percept for me, and the way in which we gain knowledge of our thinking through observation is such that thinking too, in its first appearance for our consciousness, may be called a percept. And for 15, the summary is, Steiner chose the term percept over sensation because sensations represent only a portion of potential percepts, which could also include feelings and thinking. So that's why Steiner has chosen the term percept versus sensation, and that's what this paragraph is just discussing. And I'm just going to end off there, and hopefully this was helpful for you guys. So I look forward to seeing you again, and have a good day.